Welcome back to Aquí y Allá, the podcast where your hosts, Laura and Edith, explore the vibrant intersections of culture, art, and community, from the Bay Area to the Inland Empire. In today's episode, we're diving into our own story, how we met through Bumble BFF. Get ready for some laughs, a few surprises, and maybe even some spooky friendship tales. We'll share our initial thoughts on using Bumble BFF, how our upbringings have influenced our friendships, and the challenges of making friends as adults in this digital age. Welcome to Aquí y Allá. I'm Edith.
And I'm Laura, and welcome to our Halloween episode.
Happy Halloween! So let's talk about our setup. We have been struggling for the past 2 or 3 hours trying to set up.
Should I do the intro again? Yes.
Our camera just gave out, so we're
figure
using
that
our
out.
phone.
Yeah. Shout out to Edith.
Shout out to Laura. So how about our costumes?
I am Fiona. La buchona Fiona.
Yes!
Got the nails, the ripped jeans. I don't know if the camera's gonna catch it.
Oh,
And my donkey. What is it, the meme of Fiona? I wanted to come as that, so
insert a picture.
yeah.
What
about you?
I'm Pearl from the movie Pearl. Also have an ass as well. Ooh.
She's a killer?
Have you seen the movie?
No.
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
She kills people.
And I love her gown.
Laura and I went to an event for San Jose Strong Love Letters to San Jose. I submitted a photo I took at the event that Laura and I went to for Cinco de Mayo. Let me just read you a little bit.
And it's a good, it looks very like sturdy. It's like they spent some money.
They did such a great job on this.
Yeah.
It's high quality for sure. In God we trust. My dad would take us cruising around East Side San Jose for late night drives, listening to 100.3. He once had a lowrider he loved but couldn't afford to maintain. Every time we spotted one on the streets, he would point it out and say how much he wished he could own one. This makes me remember my parents' sacrifices and dreams. It was a lot of fun. I was able to talk a little bit about what this photo meant to me. I'm glad it's on something physical.
That's why I also came down to visit in San Jose, was because I wanted to be there for the release of the zine. We will talk more about it, but we just wanted to plug that in real quick. This episode, we wanted to talk a little bit more about how me and Edith met, and also touch on friendships and how people are meeting each other these days.
We met on Bumble BFF. Laura slid into my DMs.
Did I? What is Bumble BFF?
Oh, yeah. It's like the dating app Bumble. And when I saw that Laura had the same interests, I swiped right.
Yeah.
There's this feature on Bumble BFF. If you didn't respond to the message, your match expired. I wasn't good at checking the app every day, so it expired. She messaged me on Instagram. She was a real person. We happened to have some mutual friends. We just hit it off from there. I think that was maybe 2 years ago.
I don't remember the first time I heard of Bumble BFF. So I had moved to San Francisco, and I knew that I wanted to invest more time in building friendships and community.
Do you remember what year it was?
When I found out about it?
Yeah.
No, I don't even remember. One of my best friends also had been on Bumble BFF. That's, yeah, a couple years ago. But she didn't have the most, like, positive experiences. And also my sister had used it, and she also had, like, a mixed review of the app. Let me go check it out for myself. And I had been on the dating apps like Hinge, not on Bumble, the dating, but I was on that one. And so at the same time that I was like dating, I also was like, let me find friendship dates, friend dates. It's like a little bit taboo to talk about having met people on Bumble BFF. I kind of embrace it because I've had such a positive experience, and I'm not afraid to say that. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for a connection, because I feel like I also hear of so many people that are like, oh, I wish I had more friends, or I wish I had someone that I can do this with. And so, yeah, I think those would have been my initial thoughts of Bumble. Because you started doing Bumble BFF. Because when I had met Edith, she was my first.
She went around.
But Edith, on the other hand,
Was I your first match?
Yeah. Oh, not my first match. No.
Oh.
No, there was more. You have had success stories, so maybe you can tell us how to do Bumble BFF, right? Or maybe the way it's worked for you, like two key things.
It's definitely gone wrong during a pandemic, so it was a very serious thing, right? I felt comfortable matching with people who had on their bios fully vaxxed.
Okay.
I imagine during that time too, if you were on dating apps, you were looking for people who were being cautious if they were meeting up in real life.
Dude, it's crazy because... Wait, so you would actually meet up with them and go on like coffee dates or something?
Yeah, but with like face masks and 6 feet apart. There were definitely some people on Bumble BFF who were like anti-vax. If you want to meet up, I just want you to know I'm not vaccinated. With that in mind, a pandemic going on, but also trying to make connections. I was using the app in San Jose and in San Francisco. Anywhere in between.
She would drive. Willing to drive.
Trust me, I was spiraling. I was on TikTok for like 13 hours straight, and I was like, this is not healthy.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's not funny.
We crave human interaction.
Yeah.
And if you're able to filter that out through an app, swipe right on people who are cautious, wear masks,
At that time.
and are vaxxed. During that time, it was real.
Yeah, but like touching up on that on like TikTok and like friends, my sister, she's a bit younger than me, and so she has like a lot of mutuals that she sees out and about that she has like on social media, like as friends that they don't like never met, but they follow each other, and then she's seen them out like in real life. And she's like, wait, that's my mutual from like social media. So has my other sister, because she does, Jenny, she's documenting her experience going through a PhD program, and she's made friends through that. I also feel like maybe during that time when TikTok was first introduced, it felt maybe more like isolating, even though I feel like everybody was like posting, the dances. Also heard of it like being able to like find friends. You either like post similar stuff that you like to do. A COVID time was not, it was different for me. I don't think I was trying to make friends. Should we show our profile?
Yeah. Oh, my phone is recording.
There was a time where we went up when wait. How soon after we matched did we hang out?
We both lived in the same neighborhood.
Yeah. I guess you can
Had just moved.
like literally
Wasting no time.
Yeah, just like let's go.
What was your perspective when we met?
I remember driving and then I saw you with the mask. I remember asking myself like, should I be wearing a mask too? Because we didn't talk about that. And it makes sense too because you work in like...
I work in healthcare. I don't remember me wearing a mask. It was just a part of my lifestyle, just wearing a face mask. San Francisco is great. The food is great. Just so expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was so nice. Great recommendation. We looked at the menu and we were like, oh, okay. It's
Yeah,
this kind of restaurant.
we were like, oh, damn. And I think that like broke the ice because we were like, let's state the obvious.
Yeah.
I think in order for Bumble BFF to work, you have to be able to respond quickly, just like just any dating app or any app where you're trying to meet someone. You gotta respond quickly because the longer you wait, it's like the interest starts to flee. I feel like we are just fast-paced people. And then the second one, for me, I'm not like shy to propose something to do. I feel like that's what I love about the profiles, because if we saw something that we like to do, we can be like, hey, let's go. Like, I found this like art event. Do you want to go with me? Let's go to this coffee shop. I would say get off the app and meet in real life if you feel safe, like as soon as possible. Because I feel like when you don't have that like when you're dating someone that you're attracted to, but it's just like a friendship, there's like a less like initiative or no incentive to meet up in person. I don't even remember who proposed what, but I know we wanted to go eat Thai food. And we went to this super cute like restaurant. I was just new to SF. There were so many places that I wanted to go like on a cute date with someone.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let's go here.
I was just telling her about my background, how I grew up. We found some similarities in that.
Yeah.
Filtering out the
Yeah.
small talk and just getting straight to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And coming from like a smaller town, the exciting part about growing older is like you can choose your friends. You're able to meet people that you I feel like I've been repeating this over and over again. Enjoy the same things. I get to know a little bit more about her upbringing. At that time, I learned to be very intentional. Oh, what are you looking for? Friends to just like go out and get drinks, because that's some people that just do that on Bumble BFF. Like they want a girls' night out. There was people that I connected with on Bumble just for that. I remember asking you that, and I feel like we were pretty aligned from the start.
Bumble BFF kind of taught me how to be more open and just cut straight to the point.
Because, like, what do you have to lose, right?
Yeah.
I really hope she wants to be my friend. And I had forgotten something. I forgot what I left. You're like, hey, you left something here.
So she left it on purpose.
It's funny.
Maybe it was your wallet.
Oh, yeah.
Or something. No sé. Our friendship has just been evolving, and we're both willing to try new things.
Yeah. I feel like even in the short span of like the time that we met, I've gone through like so much stuff. I always felt like safe and comfortable to like talk to. We're like.
It's your crown
I know.
queen.
I told you this too. Like when we hung out, I feel like I could be a kid.
How do I follow that? If I hadn't agreed to meet up, then I would have missed out.
Oh, that's true.
Some people are hesitant to meet up because they've had prior bad experiences. They might be scared to meet up.
Yeah, because it's like literally strangers.
I think if our first date would have gone wrong, then we probably wouldn't
Like,
be here.
I feel like there's some obvious things that like, okay, don't
Yeah.
like hang out with that person. Do you have any friendship horror stories or any bad experiences with meeting up with people? Because either on the app or like, you know, throughout life.
They know you're a local. They're like,
Ooh,
can you
this is
show me all of the cool places? That is my horror story. Them not appreciating San Jose as much as I do.
I think we had talked about this, where they're just using you as a means to like find what they want to do and like you to be like their tour guide when you're not trying to do that. I feel like it's insensitive.
Yeah.
Especially if like someone just like, okay, so you know, they want you to entertain them when it's like, well, I feel like we both should entertain each other. Go on TikTok for that if you want to find cool spots. I can see that. I feel like not everyone, and that's like why it's so important to keep an open mind when you're meeting up with someone, because they're like, okay, they might be just wanting me for like, they might not want to really invest on like an emotional like friendship. They just want to be like, oh yeah, we're just like here in their group. And I feel like naturally as you start making friends, because I've had this experience, like they want to share you they want to show you where they like to go, and I feel like you also naturally be like curious. I mean, maybe I shouldn't talk about this part. Yeah, maybe we won't talk about that. Scratch that. That person that I was dating for a while, like they were from SF, and so they showed me some cool spots because I liked where they showed me, like same thing, like I appreciated that. And I can also know that they were being like safe about where they showed me, because SF is like really small. You will find that person again and again. Because naturally I like to go to those places, so I'm gonna see you there.
Yeah.
But that's another way too to meet someone. Like just go to the places that you want to go and you'll start seeing regular faces, or at least I have seen that. And then I just go up to them and be like, oh, I've seen you before. And you guys just start like talking.
I feel like you're really good at approaching people. You just have such a friendly face.
I've been experimenting this whole time, going up to people. Like, they don't know that I'm shy. Because ever since like my career in sales, like I just really put on a persona of like, I'm so like not nervous or scared.
That's good.
And then I'm just kind of go along with it. I'm like, again, what's the worst that can happen? The worst has happened and it's fine.
That's very inspirational. Because when I started Bumble BFF, I was in my mid-20s. Now I'm 28. I feel like my interests are changing and my friend group is also changing. It's like we're growing together in different directions.
Yeah.
Making friends in your late 20s is a little bit more demanding, I feel like. Do truly cherish every friend that I have in my life, and I love to support them.
Yeah.
I just wish I had more time to do that.
That's why I feel like it's hard to make friends in your 20s, because it's such a transitional stage of life. People are moving. If, you know, they're getting married, some people are having kids, some people are like traveling a lot, and then there's some people that are like saving up for like goals that they have. They are not going out and wanting to spend money. They have different priorities. For me, I feel like I had a sense of freedom when I moved away to a new city. I got to like prioritize what I wanted to, because I had that luxury. But I do feel like making friends in your late 20s is hard, especially like if you haven't invested that early on. Just I feel like I remember being jealous of people that had like friends that they grew up with. This was my best friend since, you know, elementary school. But I didn't really have that. Like I grew up Because like now you say that I am like a friendly face. I think I just always had like a resting.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel like I would always intimidate people. Or at least that's in first impressions that people told me. I was just more quiet. Not that I wasn't friendly at like even in high school, I feel like I was, but I didn't get too close to anyone. Like, keeping people at an arm's length. Like I really didn't let people too close to my like life. Culturally, I feel like I don't know if you heard that because I grew up hearing that like friends come and go, or friends are gonna leave you, or family's gonna be always here. Friends are just like momentarily or temporary. Like I remember hearing that from my mom. That was a lot of the messages that I would hear growing up. Like friends are not like you don't invest in them. Like find a partner, or like your family's always gonna be there. So I think I kind of took that and I never really like invested in friends. Yeah, I forgot what I was going about. My sisters did, and I would always be a little bit jealous. I'd be like, oh, that's your friend.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're
I
like,
had
that's
no
noted.
idea.
Good.
Yeah. My parents don't have friends. Even if they had friends, like growing up, they never maintained them. It's like a friend that they knew they could help fix their tires.
And maybe friendship looks like that.
It's more transactional, too.
That's true.
Because they were just trying to survive.
It's a luxury to, I guess, invest in friendships.
Yeah. I just grew up with my parents not having friends. So
yeah.
Maybe that made me value my friends now. And that's not to say that I've always had a big group of friends either. Growing up, I was just a very shy kid too. My older sister was the one who had more friends. It was easier for her. I just adopted her friends.
Yeah.
And I followed her around and called them my friends too.
We're all friends. Yeah, that's a good point because I have like a lot of sisters and I inherited their friends too. Which was cool for a moment, but I like you said, like it looked easier to them, and I was like, how do they do that? And I was like, okay, well, love, like, oh, girls are like so much drama, and I was like, I don't even wanna, like, I don't know, when the friend was like, don't be her friend because I'm not her friend, I'm like, I'm gonna be her friend. In like high school or like middle school, I feel like especially they're just like being a girl's girl. I support my friends and I'm like, yeah, girl, but I'm also gonna be like, no, girl. Yeah, so I feel like we just talked about that, like how people meet nowadays, like the importance of finding community and like how do people do that since like post-COVID or even before. It's like a new normal. Some of the places where I feel like I find things to do, because I say like, again, if you want to find friends that like love to do the same stuff, you guys have shared interests, some of the ideas would be like I go on Eventbrite to find things to do in a new city, but there's also like, did you ever go on Meetup or event? Or
I tried to.
It's the people platform where interests become friendships. Go on like hikes, you can go classes, you can do networking.
Oh, you know what, I did do a meetup for Spanish speakers in the city. I wanted to practice my Spanish.
Another horror story.
But there were guys in that friend group who were there for more than just friendship. I signed up for some events on Meetup, and then I got kicked out because I didn't pay or something.
Would you pay for friends?
No.
Would you pay to meet friends?
No.
So do you think
there's just so many free options?
Yeah.
I'd rather do the free options.
It's the same thing, like there's people that pay for like extra levels on like dating apps to meet someone.
You know what, you're right. On Bumble BFF, I think you can pay to expand your search.
Yeah. Or how do you feel like people are meeting themselves, like meeting other people nowadays? Because I've heard of like running clubs a lot. I used to run cross country, so I love running, and I was attending some running clubs in the city, like Unseen and Midnight Runners run clubs, which are so big right now. I feel like I've also, maybe you're not like,
I'm sorry, you will not catch me running.
For friends, you're like, hey, hold on. This is also where people are meeting to date. Also for friends and also dating, like, cool. I hear that's like the new place to meet people. There's a lot of friend groups that I feel like have popped up on Instagram. Girls who hike, girls who walk. Remember we went to what's that event?
Yeah.
Or what's that page?
Girls who hike.
Girls who hike. Yeah, and so it was cool because there's like a whole bunch of girls that come out and they go on a hike. And we went to like Bernal Heights. It out there that they are trying to like do some cutesy stuff and like meet friends. So I feel like you feel like that barrier has gone down. Just like when you're on the friendships app, like, okay, they want to meet me, so let me just. But is there any other ways where you've met people like out and about, like without an app?
No, I think I'm still shy to do that.
In that,
Like to approach
that's another
people
level.
and make friendships that way. I just meet friends through my friends now.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like before it was just like proximity, like whoever you're
Mm.
closest to is who you become friends with. That was a little bit about our story. Was our Bumble BFF match a success? Stop it right now.
Yes. Yes. It was a success. And I'm so thankful that you still reached out after our match ended on the app.
It was a success. And I feel like for the most part, I have gotten success stories.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful. I've met like her success stories. You've met some of my success Bumble BFFs. I feel like it's so funny when they're like, how did you meet this girl? Or like vice versa. They're like, how did you guys meet? And people are like, surprised when we say Bumble. We should get a referral code at this point. Okay.
Yeah, no, also just to add on to that, when I tell guys that we met on Bumble BFF, they're like, what? There's an app for friends that's not for dating. And they're just surprised for some reason.
I hope it becomes easier for men to also make friends because I feel like it's like another thing for guys to not make friends as easily. Or I don't know what I'm talking about. I feel like for guys it's easy to make friends. But I feel like emotional, like real friends, it's kind of hard for guys.
I mean, Bumble BFF doesn't have to be exclusive.
Oh.
It can be inclusive to anyone.
But did you ever get guys that are trying to be friends?
Wait, there were some people on there who were looking for a third. Yeah. You think you would do that?
A third what?
Huh?
A third what?
A third what? Like a third partner.
They would have a picture of them and their partner and they're like, I was like, what's going on here? And they're like, we're just bored. I would never do that. No.
I'm so gullible. I'm like, oh, they just want to hang out.
Yeah. And you're like, hi, guys. So what advice would you give to someone that is new to Bumble BFF or is considering it now that we've, mentioned it?
I feel like I haven't used it in a while and I hope it hasn't changed much. But my advice would be don't swipe right on anyone. Swipe right on the people that you feel have your common interests. If you want to create a bond with someone, you should do something that you both find interesting.
Yeah.
A coffee shop is great, but it doesn't give you much space to learn about the person. Maybe dinner is nice. I know that's how we met, but then we also followed up with activities and going to events, and that's how we learned more about each other. And your creative side, I feel like I learned more about you that way too. So I feel like maybe coffee once and then follow up with some activities. I think that's been my success with my friendships on Bumble BFF.
And for the most part, people are like down to do that activity.
Yeah.
Hood rat activities. So some advice, it would be to say what stood out from their profile or like what specifically you're interested, because I think like you can get a hint like, oh, I'm interested in all, like we connect everything, or maybe like this specifically, like if someone, like for me, like I met one friend because they had their faith, like that they're also a Christian, wanted to, I forgot the spirituality, like they had that, and I was like, okay, I want to meet more friends that are like also believers, and so I told her that we should meet up, and like I'm trying to find more friends that are also like, that want to talk more about their faith. I messaged them and I'm like, hey, like your profile like stood out to me or something, and this specifically was what like caught my attention, was that this and that, and like tell me more about that, or mentioning the interest that stood out to you, whether that was like the sport. If some people want to go biking, then you'd be like, hey, I'm trying to find a friend to go biking with, do you want to go? And then we can grab some like lunch. And what else would I say? I think that's it.
I think also don't get discouraged if a connection doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I feel like if you put yourself out there and you don't feel celebrated, then move on to another connection,
Yeah.
that you do feel celebrated. And
Mm-hmm.
definitely I matched with a couple of people where we just met up once and then we didn't talk after that.
Yeah.
And I think I took it personally sometimes. I was like, maybe
Yeah.
it's something that I said or something that I did.
It's just like dating.
Huh?
It's just like dating.
It's
But you
just like
haven't dated in a
dating.
while. Like,
Yeah. And to put it into perspective, I've never used a dating app, so I don't know what it's like.
mm-hmm.
And
What to compare it to.
yeah, what to compare it to. But it does sound like probably a dating app
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Because to your point, like there is times where I met with someone and I feel like you're thinking like I was putting in more effort from the first, like to entertain them. Maybe because I was the one that was more like extroverted in that sense, or like the most comfortable. Acknowledge that you both might be nervous. So yeah, like there's people that after we connected and I was like, dude, this person seems so cool, but it just never happens. And so I feel like I follow up and I'm like, hey, I don't take it personally because you said like in your 20s, people are like, you might just be like, I don't have energy today to like hang out. So I've canceled on people, so I imagine it's fair for them to also cancel on me. So I would take it personal as well, like, oh, maybe they like lost interest or maybe they don't want to hang out anymore. But there's people that I also never ended up like meeting in real life, that I was like still curious about. But I also like, it's just maybe not the season. It's not the season right now to meet up. Weeks passed by or like a month and we finally were able to make it out to see each other. And that also worked out. Don't be afraid. I think it's just a practice of embracing rejection, to accept that not everyone's gonna like you.
Trial and error.
How has Bumble BFF impacted your social life or your sense of community?
I think it's also maybe taught me more about myself. I think one of the hardest questions for me is, tell me about yourself. There's so much that goes on through my head when I think about that. And it's just a very loaded question. It's like, what do you want to know? Through the first Bumble BFF dates, I was very closed off. I don't know that if I owe this person my life story, which I don't. I came to be more comfortable with my life experiences, and those are very valid, whether they're traumatic or not.
Yeah.
It also gives me a story to relate to someone else, and someone can be struggling through the same thing, and they can offer you some piece of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like what you're talking about as well as like vulnerability, and like trying to embrace your authentic self. When you ask about me, you're trying to be like, how real do I get, or like what do I mention?
Yeah.
You know? And so I feel like if you're ready to be like a little bit more of like, I'm gonna give this up to someone, like I'm gonna like let them know my situation in this, or like this is something that makes me who I am right now, or I don't know, like celebrate that, like kind of what you said.
Yeah, or
Does that make sense?
reciprocate that.
Yeah, that's
too,
true.
right? Because
they're like, oh, that's cool, and they don't tell you anything.
Okay, anyways. But I think, yeah, if someone asked me before in the early days of Bumble BFF, tell me about yourself, I think I would have just gone with one sentence. Like, hey, I'm Edith. I like photography. I like to go out. Period.
Yeah.
But by the time that we met up, I think I'd already gone through a couple Bumble BFF dates. And I think when we first met up, I kind of told you my whole life story. And I was just more of an open book and willing to share more about myself.
Yeah.
And my life experiences. Because I was like, hey, that is me. That is me.
But you weren't always like that.
I wasn't always like that. Yeah.
I feel like that's what resonated with me.
Yeah.
When you like were like telling me that, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then I kind of feel like I felt like I also want to tell her this.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to find connection.
I think I was like literally telling her where I grew up, like apartment complex life. I was just being an open book.
Yeah.
And I think in the early days of Bumble BFF, I wouldn't have done that.
This is hard because you don't know who you can be an open book with.
Yeah.
So just like, you know.
It's like, here's my story, and I hope you can relate. And if it
Cute.
doesn't resonate with you, then that's also okay. And I think also just going into it intentionally, like what kind of atmosphere you want to create for yourself and for your friends, that creates a strong base afterwards, how those connections lead.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I feel like I went into it intentionally. I want to create a safe space for people to express themselves. And I feel like they offer that to me too. So I think it goes both ways.
I think that's what we can say too, like advice of like be intentional. And by intentional, like know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
In dating and life and friendships. And if you don't know, then be honest about that.
Yeah.
Because it's just like real. Like, I don't know. I'm just like figuring it out. But that is all for us today. We also have fun doing these podcasts so you guys can get to know us. And also, as we grow, like highlight some important organizations and events.
This was fun. Be bold. Be vulnerable. Yeah. Be our friends.
Be our friend. And subscribe. Bye.
Learning lessons from doing a podcast is do little breaks.
Guys, for watching. We had a lot of fun. We had some great things to talk about, and I'm so glad you got to know about how we met. You can keep up with us on Instagram, YouTube, all the good stuff.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube. Thanks so much for sticking through it, and we hope that this was fun for you guys. So, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like. And cut.